So last week I picked up the Sony Alpha 6500 for under £600. And for under £600 I got the camera, the original kit lens, the box, the manual, 2 straps, extra batteries, and this funky little official wireless Sony remote control. And I think for under £600 I got a really good deal. But I think I've topped it. I've took a risk with another eBay auction. Yes, I know, I bought another used camera, but I took a risk and I think I've got an absolute bargain here. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. So the RX10 series is very, very popular. It's a bridge camera, which means that you can't replace the lens, but it's a fantastic all-in-one camera. I have been using the original RX10 for a couple of years now. I use it as my overhead camera, and it has been fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I've got no complaints about the quality of the footage. The only things I don't like about it is that it doesn't natively support USB charging and it doesn't have 4K. It can only record at 1080p. Now the RX10 Mark II, 3 and 4 can do 4K at 30 frames per second and they do support USB charging. Now if I jump over to my browser, you can see here this is the RX10 Mark II. It's got a retail price of £1,200, but if you search online, you can see, well, it's still over £1,000 most places there. £1,100 there at Curry's, but second hand, because it's been out for quite a few years now, you can pick up second hand there. It's about £500 there. But even if you go to, you know, different places like that, it's still £850, £900. It is still a very expensive camera. But here's what I paid. £225.01. £225. That is an absolute bargain. I hope. Now the reason I say I hope is you can see at the top here that it is a grade C and it says condition for parts or not working. Now that scares off a lot of people, which is how I managed to get it so cheap, because I think most people were scared away from this auction. If you go down though and you look at this, Sony DSC RX10 Mark II digital camera lens grade C. Down here it's got very used, high number of marks, scratches and or dents and chips, which doesn't bother me as long as the lens is okay. All faults are in red below. Now I assumed that this just wouldn't be working and you'd have to fix something. But all it says is it doesn't have the original box, it doesn't have the original lead. That's it. Now I was still hesitant about bidding. Because, well, it seems too good to be true. But if you look at the pictures, everything looks okay. Doesn't look like there's anything wrong there. It really doesn't. But as I said, I was still hesitant about putting in a bid. So I sent them an email and they said, yeah, it's working fine. Lens is fine. It just doesn't have the box and it doesn't have the lead. So I put in a bid and I was going to bid up to like, I assumed 300, 400 and I got it for £225. Now, as you saw there, it doesn't come in it doesn't come with the original box. It comes like this. Please bubble wrap the box. And for the record, they did not. They did not bubble wrap the box. Okay, let's go. Let's see this. Okay. No bubble wrap. It was handed to me. It was handed to me by a courier, so it should be okay. And if this switches on, I have got the bargain of the century. This looks amazing. This doesn't look like there's anything wrong with it at all. Honestly, there's a tiny mark there. If you guys can see this, there it's there, RX10 Mark II. This is a camera that if you had to go out and buy it right now, it would be £1,000 or so brand new. So let's bring over the overhead camera. I'm not going to bring it over, it's there already, so I'll just jump to it. So this is the box, this is what it was in, and you can see, yeah, no cables, no nothing, but that isn't an issue. I've got many different batteries for this already because I already have this camera. Right, okay. Fingers crossed, come on. I'm confident here because they did say it does work. So, got the official lens cap. Sensor looks fine. Here we go. Anglais. Date, area, time. We'll do London. Daylight savings. I don't need that. Enter. I can set the date later. That's not an issue. And here we go. This is it. What do I do here? Where's the zoom button here? Here we go. So this goes 24 to 200. The later versions actually go all the way up to 600. But, you know, obviously I need to do some testing here. I'm zoomed in a little bit too much there. Obviously I need to do a lot of testing here, but there does not seem to be any problems with this whatsoever. Yeah, this seems fine. Absolutely fine. I don't see anything wrong with this at all. At all. So at the side here, you've got your mic input and your headphone for monitoring. You've also got a multi input port there, which USB charging basically, and you've got HDMI out, which I will be using to connect to my computer. There really isn't any marks or anything like that here. You know, a couple of scrapes here or there, but you really do have to search for them. And I've said this many times, if I am buying a second-hand camera, the only thing that really matters here is the glass. The only thing that matters is that everything works. I don't mind a few marks here or there, especially with the saving, but everything looks fine. So the only thing really to check here, let's see, where's the recording setting? So that is something I need to check. File format, 4K, there we go, XAVC, 4K, there you go, 4K at 25p at 100 megabytes per second. So there it's there, NTSC PAL selector. So now it'll go from 2550 to 3060. Back into the menu. Get to record mode. And then it's there, 30. So now I can do 30, and if I drop down to 1080p, I will be able to do 60. So on the surface, everything here looks absolutely fantastic. It looks absolutely fantastic. So I do think that I've got an absolute bargain here. But of course, I'm not going to rest on my laurels. Let's try it out. Let's see how this works as my overhead camera. But before I do that, what I'm going to do is bring down my overhead camera and just give you a quick comparison of these two cameras. So let's have a look at the RX10 versus the RX10 Mark II. So I now have the RX10, my original one here, and I've got my new bargain camera, the RX10 Mark II, in my left hand here. And if I take off the lens cap here, I'll maybe show you how similar these cameras are. The differences between these cameras are very, very subtle. The new version can do 4K, it can now be charged via USB, but they didn't really make a ton of changes between these two generations. So what I've got is a minor upgrade in some ways, but the option to record in 4K and the option to charge via USB is, well, it's worth it in my opinion. Plus this is still valuable. I will be able to sell this and basically pay for that camera. I will. This is still a sought after camera. So it's quite interesting watching, you know, looking at these cameras, the original RX10, the RX10 Mark II. But look at the size of that glass. Look at the size of that. Now, these use a 1-inch sensor. And if I'll zoom out here. So I can show you this here. Look at that. That is both of them zoomed out. This one's actually got a filter at the top of it as well. But you can see, yeah, there really isn't much between them from a hardware point of view. When you're looking at them, you know, the only real difference you'll notice is that here, if you look at it there, it says RX10, and this one, minor difference, RX10 Mark II. Very subtle difference. So what I'd like to do at this point is get the RX10 Mark II up there, and I think I'll put the lens cap on this one, and I think I'll put the filter on it as well. Why not put the UV filter on it? And I'm going to put them on the overhead camera. I'm going to put the new one on the overhead camera, and yeah, let's check out how this actually performs. So if I turn this on, you will see that this does indeed support USB charging. Isn't that symbol beautiful? So my Sony RX10 Mark II is now on my stand. It's now officially my overhead camera. I have USB charging, I have 4K, and if I push this little button, we can see what it sees. This is being recorded with the Sony RX10 Mark II. Down here you can see the power bank that I was charging the camera with to demonstrate that USB charging is supported. I need to buy a longer cable because obviously this is not practical. And here I have its older brother, the original RX10. Now, there's a few things that you do look for in an overhead camera. One of the things that, you know, obviously appeals to me about the RX10 range is this zoom, is the fact that this can go from 24 to 200 and I don't have to buy expensive lenses. It's an all-in-one device. But there's a few other things like autofocus and zoom. And talking about zoom, let's put the Sony RX10 here and let's show you, if I get this in the right position, let's show you what the zoom is all about. You can actually see the millimeters there in the camera. You can really get up close. Really, really nice. Now, of course, I'm recording at 1080p right now, but this can do 4K. And I am thinking about moving up to 4K now because my overhead camera and my main camera can both do 4K. In addition to my Canon M50, they can all do 4K. And from a zoom perspective, I think, yeah, that's pretty good. You know, this is pretty much as close as you'd really want to get in an overhead shot. You know, you don't want to get as close as that in practice, but there are times when you do need to get close when you're doing an unboxing and things like that. Now, autofocus does seem quite good. If I put my hand up here, it will focus, go away, it returns. If I put this remote up, there it is. Now, one of the things that all cameras kind of struggle with is that if there's a lot of things in the shot, autofocus sometimes doesn't know which one to focus on. And that does happen a lot with unboxings because you've got your unbox, you've got your box, you've got the manual, you've got the camera, you've got different things all lying about your desk. And sometimes it doesn't know which one to focus on. And in a situation like this, yeah, that's kind of what happens sometimes. But what you can do is, you know, if you bring the camera up, it does seem to go for it. Now, occasionally, if you bring something up to the camera, it still focuses on something down there. You know, there's something it kind of catches its eye and it doesn't know which one to go for. So sometimes there is a fight or there is a little transition between it focusing on one thing and then focusing on the other. So you can see there, it knows to go for the power bank because it's the only thing there. If I move it to the side, there is a point where, yeah, it maybe doesn't know what to do. But it does seem to be quite good autofocus wise. When you bring something up to the lens, like there, it probably still focuses on the camera, but you have to hide that and then it goes. So that's what I'm saying. You know, sometimes when there's other things in the shot, it'll keep this blurred, but if you get it in the middle, everything else goes blurry. You get that nice bokeh effect. And again, I could do this manually, but when you're doing an unboxing, it's not practical, which is why I always record in auto mode. It just generally is the easiest way to do things, and it puts you in a good position for most situations, because if you were manually focused to, you know, here, then I couldn't focus this up to the lens. So autofocus looks good. The overall shot looks good. The overall quality looks really good. And all of this is going through the cam link, and it's going through OBS as well. So if I was recording directly to the memory card, the quality would be better. You know, obviously you lose some things with compression and things like that. But yes, I am very, very happy. But of course, I know that this is a good camera. I've spent a few years using the RX10, the original one, and I've always been happy with it. It's a fantastic camera, and it will continue to be a fantastic camera. My plan is to use it for the next week or two, or at least even the next month or so, because it's not going to drop in value much, and try and use it in a few different situations. Use it as a camera, use it to record videos, and see how I get on with it. If I find that I'm not using this or using any of my other cameras now, because I have bought 2 cameras in the last week, then I will sell them. And I honestly think that if I sell this right now, I will get more than what I paid for the Mark II. I think I have been incredibly lucky, and I think that most people were probably scared away from that auction because it said grade C, 4 parts or not working. I don't know why the seller put it like that. They've obviously got a template system where they're selling a lot of things. They've said it's not working, and then when I've contacted them, they said it is. Clearly it is. It's working perfectly. It's borderline mint condition. It doesn't have the box and the manuals or the cables, but it has the camera. That's all you really care about. And that is a £1,000 camera new, £500 or so second hand. I don't have the box, I don't have the cables and all that, but for £225, I'm really, really pleased. You can tell I'm pleased here. I think I've got an absolute bargain, and I think this is a reminder that you can save a lot of money when it comes to photography, filmmaking, YouTube, etc. I am not afraid of spending money when I need to spend money. Over the last week or two, I have spent close to £2,000 on microphones and different things, and I'm going to be spending another 1,000 or so over the next month. I've got a lot of things I want to buy to improve my recording setup. Some things will be bought new, and sometimes that's because, well, they're new products. I can't buy them secondhand. But other times it's because the difference between the used price and the used and the new price isn't that much, where I'd rather get the guarantee. But cameras are an area where I think that if you want to save money, you can save a lot of money buying used. The top camera from 4 or 5 years ago is still a top camera. And yes, I'm sure there's a lot of YouTubers out there that always want the latest and the greatest, but the top camera from a few years ago that perhaps cost $1,500 or $2,000, you might be able to pick it up now for $500. There is a lot of money to be saved when you're talking about buying cameras secondhand, buying lenses secondhand, or even buying microphones secondhand. I've picked up a microphone secondhand as well, and I've saved a lot of money with that as well. So I'm not saying everyone should do this, but what I'm saying is, from a filmmaking point of view and from a photography point of view as well, if the camera works, if the lens works, if everything records what it should record, then does it matter if it has a scratch? Does it matter if you don't have the box? Does it matter if, there's a few marks in the LCD screen? I think, if you're buying new, of course, you want it all perfect, but if you're trying to save money, none of those things matter. And you'll probably end up doing some of those things yourself. You'll probably end up putting some marks onto a camera yourself. So my advice, I know everyone does not subscribe to this. My advice is, if you're trying to do filmmaking and photography, pay attention to what is being sold secondhand. Sometimes it is still better to buy new. For example, I am buying a lens, and I followed about 5 auctions, and all the lenses were selling for about $250, $260 used. But I am importing it from Hong Kong for about £310. I've paid £60 more. It's from the grey market. I won't get a warranty, but I wouldn't have got that used anyway. And I've decided to get new because the difference between new and used isn't much. But, well, as I've showed you with my RX10 Mark II, which is up there are savings to be made. So do your research, guys. Look into it and save money wherever you can save money, because you can improve your recording setup. You can improve your overall photography, filmmaking setup if you're willing to buy things secondhand. I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. I have got more used bargains coming along the way. Thanks for the continued support, guys. If you get any questions about the original RX10 or the RX10 Mark II, which I've got up there, please do let me know. Please post a comment down below and I'll do my best to answer them. And until next time, well, you know the score, guys. Thanks for watching and take care. Cheers.